Hello there, and welcome to Trope on a Rope, the show where we delve into Hollywood's toy chest and play with the puzzle pieces that have come to define cinema. This week, we return to Hollywood's quest for all the money as it chases the golden temple on the mountain of recognizable IP, the movie franchise. But the franchise is a tempestuous mistress, and not everyone can reach the lofty heights of a Star Wars, a Jimmy Bond, or an MCU. For every high of a Harry Potter, there is the low of a Fantastic Beasts. For every Jurassic Park, there is a Jurassic World. And for every Pirates of the Caribbean, there is another Pirates of the Caribbean. Yet, despite the risks, studios will go all in, confidently casting their franchise dreams out into the world, only to meekly reel them in, hoping no one noticed them completely botch it on the first attempt. Welcome to the world of franchise false starts. Last week, we looked at Disney's misguided attempts at a sword and sandals and aliens and Confederacy space drama, John Carter of Mars. And this week, we continue with Tom Cruise's baffling remake of The Mummy and the first and last chapter in Universal's failed Dark Universe. My name's Jeff, and I'm joined by Mr. Colin Gerard. How's it going, Mushtar?
Going very well. I'm just pouring myself a Chivas Regal on the rocks because I think that I need to have a looser tongue than normal.
So, we're talking about The Mummy.
Yeah, which I think is already straight away was an unnecessary remake from the original, which was, I thought, quite a good movie, right?
The original, the Brendan Fraser one.
Brendan Fraser, yeah. He was brilliant. I mean, it wasn't the best movie in the world, but it was fun.
Well, it did what it needed to do, I suppose. It is baffling. This film is baffling on so many levels, and I mean, we'll get into it, but bloody hell. Let's dive straight into this. I've got my little blurb. The Mummy follows the story of a US Army sergeant and thief who, while a thieving, manages to wake up an Egyptian mummy who for some reason falls in love with the first person she sees, which is him. So now not only is a mummy chasing him, but she wants to fuck and stab him as well. Luckily for him, the mummy's an attractive woman. Unluckily though, she's also a dead woman, so it kind of evens out. Right, what are your overall thoughts about this film? How did you find it?
The first thing I could say was I would have really liked a good remake of and like a Batman Begins style remake that was really well done. I would have really enjoyed that. The next thing I thought was Tom Cruise played one of his Tom Cruise characters. You know, where he's Tom Cruise and does Tom Cruise things.
Yeah.
He even manages to get in the freak out thing at certain points, which I believe is in every single Tom Cruise movie ever made.
Yeah.
The only thing that was different about him was that on this one he plays a fucking idiot.
An idiot and a coward and an arse.
It was just the first time you meet Tom Cruise's character. He just didn't. I couldn't quite work out why he was doing or what he was doing, where he was doing what he was doing, for the reasons he was doing whatever he was doing. It didn't make sense. And you'd expect the hero, like there was no like a build up to who this character was at all. He just kind of got thrown in with this complete asshole, and just assumed that you would go, oh, it's Tom Cruise, so we'll assume that we like him, and we'll just. There was no reason to like him, and he was an asshole. So I didn't like the character right from the gate.
Yeah.
Even though it was Tom Cruise. Actually, partly because it was Tom Cruise, maybe. I don't know.
I think the first flashback scene.
Yeah.
That was a warning to me that, this is going to be kind of crap, actually. Because the first scene it's a flashback to not ancient Egypt. It's a flashback to a crusader's funeral.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Exactly, you do forget about that. It's a crusader's funeral. He gets buried with a stone, and then it cuts to modern day, and Crosslink are building a new railway track through London, and they uncover this tomb. And then Russell Crowe turns up, and he looks at a wall that's got something drawn on it, and then he goes in voiceover, "Oh, there some ancient shit happened in Egypt." You're like, what the fuck was any of this Crusader stuff? Why are you standing in a Crusader tomb going, and now Egypt stuff, and then another flashback which is set in Egypt.
Just a lot of stuff. Is a lot of stuff. Just like a wish and a hope and a prayer that the audience suspends their disbelief and goes, "All right, fine, okay, Crusaders, got it. Okay, fine, sure. Egypt, right? Okay, now we're modern day war. Okay, fine. We'll just live with this randomness."
Yeah, it's hardly any of this film takes place in Egypt. It's called The Mummy. None of it takes place in Egypt. I'm going to say none of it. There's flashbacks where she's standing in dunes, and I assume it's the beach.
Yeah, even the discovery of the tomb at the beginning of the movie, that's not in Egypt. Her tomb isn't in Egypt.
Yeah, it's a Crusader tomb. It's in Surrey.
No, not that one. Her tomb, where she's buried in the Middle East somewhere. It's not Egypt. It's Iraq. Like, okay, right, okay.
They avoid Egypt so much that I'm slightly suspicious that the Egyptian government doesn't like these mummy movies, so they have to make them elsewhere.
Yeah, then they have to find a really contrived reason for not being in Egypt. Oh, she was a really bad queen, so they took her to Iraq and buried her there because.
So look, in the original Mummy, they have the opening scene is is a flashback of Imhotep, and all the shenanigans that he gets up to, how he gets mummified, so on and so forth, and then it cuts to the modern day. This one, it doesn't start in Egypt; it starts in Surrey. You're just watching it, going, "Why are we in Surrey? Why? Who are these Crusaders?" They don't really talk about who the Crusaders are.
Just mention that there are Crusaders, but don't actually talk about what they were doing, who the fuck they were. They were Crusaders. They did this. Just get over it and let's move on with the movie.
They don't even really link the Crusaders with like the organization that Dr. Jekyll has
At all.
And you think they would? Do you think maybe that his organization is the modern version of the Crusaders? That's why the Crusaders have the dagger and the stone, because they went to like fight evil, like Dr. Jekyll's organization is. We're getting slightly ahead of ourselves, but and his current organization is just a follow on from that. But no, they're just random other things, and these Crusaders are just there for reasons.
And Dr. Jekyll just happens to know about these Crusaders.
Yeah.
Somehow. That they have stolen the stone somehow. Don't know how they stole the stone. Don't know how they stole the dagger. Don't know how he knows about them. But he knows about them, and all these things did happen. Get over it. Movie started. Like what? All right.
So this note in my thing is called A Tale of Two Tombs. So yeah, they find the Crusader tomb in England.
It was the best of tombs. It was the worst of tombs.
Oh, that's better. Oh fuck. So yeah, the crosslink finds the Crusader tomb underneath London. Then we have the proper flashback with Princess Amenet. My note is Princess Amenet gets cock blocked from the throne by her baby brother.
One thing I wasn't sure about, Princess Amenet. She was the daughter.
She was the daughter of the pharaoh.
Yeah, so the kid that was born was her. Technically, it was her brother or half brother. Maybe I can't remember, and that's why there was a problem.
It's the son of the pharaoh, so she's stuffed as far as the line of succession goes.
Yeah,
she makes a deal with Set, the Egyptian god of death, right?
Yeah, and tattoos her face,
which tattoos her up, makes her a little bit too pale, so that she can become pharaoh, and in return, she will sacrifice a dude and bring Set to the mortal world. Yeah?
Yeah. So she's going to use somebody's body as a vessel.
Yeah.
And the dagger and stone, if he stabs them, then Set will be in them.
That goes into the thingy-me-bob. And in return, she gets to be pharaoh. My problem with this is I like this and I don't like this, right? I like this because in the original, it's actually an improvement on the original. In the original, why is the mummy the mummy? Why does he have those powers? Why does he have supernatural powers and shit?
Because of the book of life and death,
which I don't think he used.
I don't know. Why does he have the powers?
If I'm remembering this correctly, the people who mummify him and bury him alive, they put a curse on him, and tell him, the dude in voiceover says, and they cursed him, should he ever return to the mortal world, he would have terrible powers. And it's a line that I'm always like, why have you done that for?
That's the worst curse ever.
Yeah, you've leveled him up. What the hell? What have you done?
If you dare return, you shall be, unfortunately, more powerful than any other being.
Yeah, every time I love the original Mummy film, but every time every time that happens, it's like, he was cursed that if he should ever return, he would be terrible and powerful. And so, what are you doing? Were you mad?
That's what he wants.
That's what he wants. Why have you done this? So in this version, she does it to herself.
Yeah. So she chooses to take the power. She chooses to side with the god Set so she can get the power, which makes a lot more sense.
The reason I don't like it is what she does is she kills her father and the baby, with a knife. She could have just done that.
Yeah. Or or she could have done the deal and not killed them because Set's going to make a pharaoh anyway. So killing of them was either necessary without the curse or unnecessary with the curse.
She didn't need to do any of this bollocks. She could have just killed her father and the baby. And the guards, she gets arrested for... Does she get arrested for practicing magic, or does she get arrested for killing the pharaoh? Because technically she's pharaoh at that point.
They know that she's fucking with black magic, which is why they put her in Mercury and stuff. So it's probably because she's fucking with dark powers.
Yeah, because pharaoh murdering, that's how most pharaohs and kings become pharaohs and kings, by murking the one that came before them. So
normally it'd just be a handshake and go, fair play to you, mate. Good job.
And then she gets taken away far from Egypt and buried in Iraq.
Why was she buried in Iraq?
I assume because that's where US Army personnel would be in the future.
Yeah. Well, that would make it easier for a rogue agent to find her.
The thing is that a lot of this film is an elaborate fetch quest, because you've got the tomb in Iraq, the knife and the stone are in England, the stone is with the Crusaders, and then
the knife is in a church
next to where the plane crashes.
But that's the other thing that makes a little bit of sense. She could sense where the knife was. She can't sense where the stone is for some reason.
Yeah,
but she could sense where the knife was. And so she purposely crashed near it.
And you think the stone would be the crucial bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Tom Cruise and Jake Johnson hanging out in the desert, being complete dicks.
Miles away from where they should be.
Miles away from where they should be. Here's the thing. So they are looters.
Yep.
They go around the country stealing shit. The fact that they are so far away from where they should be, and the fact that when their commanding officer finds them later, doesn't say or do anything, they totally know what he's doing and where he is.
In fact, he does mention it, in a kind of half-joking kind of way. He obviously knows what they're doing and why they're doing it. And also that fucking woman turns up and tells her, he stole my map. It's obvious what he's doing, but he's not even slightly reprimanded for it.
Yeah, no, it's totally authorized that I bet he's cutting in his commander. So... anyway, they stumble onto a town in the middle of nowhere, and underneath the town is a huge cavern. They open up the cavern, which no one's noticed, even though it's in the town square, and they've built buildings on top of it. The cavern underneath is only half a meter below the soil.
Yep, I noticed that as well.
Did you not dig foundations for the buildings?
Lucky they didn't try and build a well or something in the middle of a desert.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, that cavern underneath, way too big. It's fucking huge.
It would have just collapsed.
It would have just collapsed, yeah.
Especially with a one half a meter thick crust over the top. Just a shell.
Yeah, exactly. And then it is completely empty underneath. That should have collapsed a long, long time ago. Why has no one noticed this thing?
Yeah.
Even natural erosion, a hole would have turned up at some point.
Or does a kid fucking dig in a hole like kids do?
Just digging a hole and then suddenly falls 20 meters to his death
into that mouth of the mummy.
Yeah, they say it's raining mercury inside the cave.
Did they say it was raining mercury?
It's dripping from the ceiling. Yeah.
Oh, it was dripping. Yeah.
How's that happening?
Physics.
There's a pool of mercury at the bottom in which the sarcophagus is. But yeah, how is it dripping from is it like a sprinkler system? Have they done piping? And like a water feature.
I'm trying to solve this problem for you. The only thing I can think of is because of the explosion, the pool was splashed on the ceiling. That doesn't make any sense at all. It's the only thing I can come up with.
So Tom Cruise and Jake Johnson, they go down into the hole with Jenny, who's a archaeologist who turns up. She slept with Tom Cruise like the day before or something like that,
And he stole a map.
and he stole the map to this place. So they go into the cavern together, and they find a pool of mercury, and there's a bunch of chains and ropes and shit going into the mercury, and there's something. It's the sarcophagus is inside the mercury. And looking at all of this stuff, Jenny goes, "These chains are meant to keep it down, not to bring it up." Tom Cruise just shoots a counterweight, and then the chains pull it up. So they are there to bring it up.
Yeah.
So you're wrong, Jenny. There's counterweights around the room. Open your fucking eyes.
And this is one of the reasons I don't like Tom Cruise's character as well. Why did he shoot the chain?
Why are there chains?
Yeah, why are there chains?
They could have just sunk it to the bottom.
It would have been harder to retrieve the sarcophagus without the chains than with the chains.
Yes, so the chains are there specifically to bring it up. You're wrong, Jenny. You're a shit archaeologist. The only possible reason that those chains are there are to bring it up. Jenny, you're an idiot. If they want, and the Egyptians are idiots for putting chains on it in the first place. Just put a brick in that thing and let the fucker sink.
Surrounded by cement filled with mercury. Don't even put those statues there. Ignore the cavern.
Fill in the cavern.
Just bury it.
Yeah.
With no chains.
Tom Cruise, he keeps getting flashbacks of Armanet out in the desert for some reason.
Is that he gets them after he releases them, right? After he shoots the chain.
No, before he shoots chain. Is it? I can't remember, and I'm not going back to watch it because I'm not clicking on this again.
I'm going to say it was after he shot the chain, he started getting the visions.
All right, okay. Oh, whilst he's looking at the sarcophagus, he starts getting visions. I'm going to guess. He keeps getting visions. It happens all the way through it. The flashback at the beginning, we keep getting flashbacks to the flashback that we saw at the beginning. And I'm like, I know we saw this. I was watching this film. I remember because I'm sad about it. This is a film that I think of often because it brings me pain. I know I saw the flashback at the beginning. You don't have to have flashbacks of the flashback. I saw the fucking flashbacks. It's been a couple of days since I've seen this film. I'm still having flashbacks.
Unfortunately, because of you, Jeff, now I've seen it twice.
I've seen this film twice as well. Oh, fucking hell. So they get let's rattle on through it. They get the sarcophagus. They put it on a plane and they fly back.
One question.
Yeah.
So the guy, his friend, Tom Cruise's friend.
Oh, Jake Johnson. Yes, he gets bitten by a spider.
Gets bitten by a spider who's not poisonous.
Yes, but he dies anyway on the plane for reasons.
Why does he die?
I don't know.
Because like the mummy hasn't been released yet, so she can't control things.
Except for birds.
Ravens, no less, or crows, perhaps.
My note on Jake Johnson is Jake Johnson dies and gets possessed. Ellipses. Somehow.
As with the beginning of the movie, the two tombs, let's just accept it, move on.
Don't ask too many follow-up questions and crack on. The bird strike. I don't think they're flying to England. Are they flying to England? Because they say, "Oh, we're over Britain at the moment," and Jenny goes, "Britain or England?" I think she calls it England. Like, were they meant to go to England?
It's never really specified where they're meant to be going because, I mean, he's an American. Is she British? I can't remember.
Yeah, she's British, I think.
Okay, I think the reason they're going to Britain is because she wants to study it. So maybe she is taking it to her colleagues in Britain to study it.
What, Dr. Jekyll?
With the American army flying in there.
But when the pilot says they're over Britain, she seems surprised that they're over Britain. Like, I thought, where were you going?
And why? Yeah, I know.
Because Jekyll's in London, right?
Yeah.
So I assume that she was going to take it to him, but yeah, it is American. Oh, I don't know. The plane crashes. Tom Cruise kicks her. The plane crash is quite fun. And Tom Cruise dies, but then comes back to life in a body bag.
Yeah, which is a shame.
with the toe tag that says unknown on the name, even though he's an army officer, so he does have identification on him. That's kind of the point.
In a military plane with military personnel. Pretty sure we know who this guy is.
Yeah. The plane crashes in next to a church in a field in Surrey. There's two people with flashlights.
Policeman.
It's two police officers going through the crash wreck. Why aren't there more people there?
Is the search happening as soon as the crash happens, or is there a time lapse?
Well, they've recovered Tom Cruise's body.
Yeah, so there would have been a bit of a time lapse.
So they would have been there already. But when the two police officers go there, there's still like bits of the plane and fire all over the place. But then there's no one there. Like you'd think there'd be like hundreds of people like combing the crash site, fire and emergency, military personnel, like having those evidence tents. That's better. Set up everywhere so that they can collect the debris and all that. It would be like hundreds of people, not two bobbies with flashlights.
Oi, oi, what do we have here?
Because I was watching that bit because they find Amanet and then Amanet sucks the souls out of them and gets less mummified. If there were like hundreds of people and tents and all that kind of shit going on, how much cooler would it have been for her to be like all of her limbs like fucked up, spidering her way between tents and then fucking wrecking people inside and then jump into the next one, and then like maybe a panic ensues and she zombifies a couple of people and it slowly overtakes, and then she's got like a little army of people to start off with.
And also, she's basically bulletproof, right? Like you can't kill her by shooting her. So that would have been a really cool scene where they're actually just like trying to kill her, beating the shit out of her with shovels or guns or whatever, and she's just massacring them.
Yeah, like just like darting between these tents, like sucking the souls out of people, turning people into zombies, and then like right at the end, like there's only like a few people left, and she just fucking Night Kings all the dead people.
I was just about to say that. It's like, I was about to say, do you remember that scene in Game of Thrones where the Night King just goes? That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome, right? But no, it's two bobbies with a flashlight. That's what we get instead.
God, that would have been a great scene.
Yeah, right. Tom and Jenny go to the crash scene. Again, no one's there, but there's bits of plane everywhere, and they find the knife in the church next door. Again, it's just fetch quests. Find the knife, find the stone, find Armanet in the first place. It's just go from A to B. It's just unnecessarily convoluted. Like the original was, there's a mummy. We found the mummy. Fuck, run.
Survive. Find a way to kill him.
And then that was... I can't even remember how did they defeat the mummy in the first mummy?
It had something to do with the book.
Yeah, right.
They brought the mummy back to life in the first place by reading a passage from the Book of the Living, or Book of the Dead, which brings things to life, and the Book of the Living is what kills people.
They're both trying to get... The good guys and bad guys are just trying to get the book back from wherever it goes, so that they can undead the undeaded.
Yeah.
But in this, they have to find this piece, and then this piece, and then this piece, and then Tom Cruise is a piece as well. It's just full of these MacGuffins that are just like, oh, I don't care about any of this. There's too many things.
Or if it was based on a really, really well-known mythology where certain things are needed, then it would be more acceptable. But they've made up this entire mythology. They haven't explained the mythology of why these things are important. They've just said, now you need this, this, and this. So yeah, it's just like searching out MacGuffins. And can I ask what is the good guy's plan against the mummy the entire time? Like the mummy always has a plan. I need the knife, I need the stone, stab the guy. What is the good guy's plan the entire time?
Tom Cruise or Jekyll's?
Anyone.
Tom Cruise is run away.
Until he doesn't run away.
And Jekyll's next actually. Jekyll's is to sacrifice Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Which is so basically give the mummy what she wants is his plan.
Yeah, because that is what happens in the end, but it's just Tom Cruise is holding the knife, not her.
Is that exactly? So his plan is to sacrifice Tom Cruise to her. So he's going to let her stab him, give her everything that she wants, so she will control Set. How is that a good plan?
Yeah, I don't know. I will say the scene with Dr. Jekyll, Russell Crowe, possibly the best thing in this film.
Yeah, I totally agree. I even liked it. I liked his Mr. Hyde accent. The fact that he suddenly goes all cockney gangster. But I will say, as Mr. Hyde, he was a lot less impressive than I expect Mr. Hyde to be. He was just a bit angry. You think that the monster Mr. Hyde is supposed to be like a super powered fucking monster, right? He's just a cockney gangster.
I like him as Jekyll and Hyde. His plan is dumb.
Yeah.
What is hilarious, I think, is when he does become Hyde, the security locks down. So the big iron door bolts closed. The handprint doesn't work anymore. And, oh, they won't let me out of here, Nicholas. All that stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
There is a huge, huge, huge window behind his desk. It's just a fucking window.
They won't let me out of here for nothing. Nothing, whatever your name is, Tom Cruise.
That thing's made of glass, mate. Just go through there.
Oh, aren't you a doctor? But what did you think of Mr. Hyde though? Like when you think of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I always assume Mr. Hyde's gonna be like a fucking super powerful monster with like superhuman strength. He doesn't seem that strong for a Mr. Hyde.
What do you mean, like Hulk?
A little, well, not quite Hulk, but like that.
Maybe. I do like the fact that he is just Russell Crowe still, but he's just evil.
Yeah, which is what they just come with a personality change.
Yeah, I like the personality change. In fact, I tell you what, talking about different people's plans in this, Hyde's proposition to Tom Cruise is actually the best offer he gets.
It's a lot better. He's ruthless as fuck, but yeah, that's definitely the best fucking choice.
Hyde's offer is, I'm thinking of something slightly more collaborative. Yeah, no, that's a good plan. You should go with him.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're resisting this.
Because he's got a scary voice.
Russell Crowe's organization, which again they don't name, they could have called them the Crusaders or whatever.
Or the Monster Hunters.
They've got Armanet and then lose her like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, because they hold her in handcuffs and inject her with mercury.
Yeah, it's just a bit crook how they were keeping her in that room. It seemed fetishy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter because they lose her 5 minutes later, so they're all shit anyway. I will tell you that they do the sand, facing the sand from the first one whilst they're running through London. I will say that getting the sand from windows,
that was quite clever. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I did like that. And then they go into train tunnels. They're getting close to this the Crusader team underground. So they go into the train tunnels, which some of them are active train tunnels for some reason.
Yeah. Even well, they were building a train line through there, right? That's how they found the crypt in the first place. So apparently, in the 1 week since they discovered the tomb, they've actually completed that train line. As you know, England are very efficient at lines.
They're running around the tunnels, and they're all these very samey-looking tunnels because a tunnel is a tunnel. You can't really get much variety in tunnels. They're tunnels. There's a bit where Armanet says, "Arise, my warriors." She Night Kings it. Then all the Crusaders come back to life.
Yeah, who would not help warriors?
Yeah, exactly right. Why are they working for her all of a sudden?
Can she just control anything that's dead? Because there are a shitload of graveyards in London.
Every time something happens, because the zombie army starts murking people left and right. So something's happening, and then it cuts to either Tom Cruise or Jenny just in a tunnel, just going, what was that? Jenny, Tom Cruise. And then a little bit of action, and then cuts back to Jenny. Tom?
Oh, and he's still being haunted by his mate the entire time, who seems to be the only dead person who comes back to life as a ghost to give like directions.
There's an unnecessary underwater level where Jenny gets taken. Why does Armanet give a shit about Jenny?
I think she's jealous.
Why?
I don't fucking know, but that's what it seemed like. Did you not get that sense?
I've got nothing against Jenny, but what does Jenny fucking matter?
She just seems really jealous that Tom Cruise likes her.
Even Jake Johnson is just like, oh, Armanet won't let her live. Why does Armanet care?
Did you not get that sense though?
Yeah, no, I got the sense that she's jealous, but I'm still like, why?
Oh, I don't know why either. But that's why that's why she had a problem. She was jealous.
Jenny dies underwater. Tom Cruise has a fight with Armanet, and Armanet kicks the ever-loving shit out of him.
Oh yeah.
At which point he stabs himself with the nice knife.
Well, before that, she gives him so many hints on how to save the day. She's like, remember, if you accept the power, you have the power over Jenny, life. Jenny's dead, by the way, and death. Jenny's dead, by the way. I'm going to say that another 5 times before you get the hint.
Have you got it now? Have you got it? Okay, we'll have a quick flashback of Russell Crowe saying pretty much the same thing to you as well.
Would you like to see me in the sand? Me in the sand? Does that help?
He stabs himself with the knife, and then he gets possessed by Set, I suppose, is what happens to him, but it's because he did it, he can control it for reasons.
I don't think he can fully control it. It's his choice, so I think he still has some free will. She didn't break his will or to kill him, so he kind of yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to help the movie, Jeff. I'm trying really hard to help.
I don't understand how that is different from what she wanted in the first place.
It was the same result, except that she wasn't holding the knife.
Also, why does she want it anyway? Why is she paying Set back?
She never became fucking Pharaoh.
She had a deal with Set, and this was her part. This was her half of the deal. He didn't give her. Yeah, she didn't become Pharaoh. She didn't get anything that she wanted. She got fucking arrested 5 seconds in. So why is she trying to bring Set back? Because why does she give a shit? She's got enough powers by herself.
Actually, that's a very good point.
Why is she doing any of this?
I was just thinking she never got to be Pharaoh. But yeah, she never got to be Pharaoh, but she got all the powers. Yeah, what the fuck does she get? What does she gain by doing this other than giving up her being the strongest being on Earth?
Yeah, why is she paying Set back for a thing that Set didn't give her? Yeah, she's got powers now, so maybe she could just like rule the world now. She can go to Egypt, rule that if she wants, or take over Britain. Who gives a shit? Raise a zombie army.
Well, maybe if she doesn't do it, then Set will get revenge on her without being able to do that because he doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why she's doing anything that she's doing. It doesn't matter because Tom Cruise does it for her.
Yeah, and it turns out that Set's plan was fucking stupid.
So, he sucks her to death.
Yep.
My note for this is a monster or Set or something I don't know or care.
Yep. And then, did you notice at the end when he brings his friend back to life?
Yeah.
Right. And they're riding through the desert.
Yeah.
Did you notice the sand cloud?
Yeah. No.
So, where's your sense of adventure, Bill? Whatever your fucking name is, and then they ride off. Behind his mate Bill is what you'd expect from a horse. Small amount of dust being kicked up, but behind Tom Cruise is a small amount of sand and a fucking sandstorm that he's kicking up as well. Did you not notice that?
No, I didn't know.
Watch just the last 5 minutes. Just watch that and go, oh yeah, he has the power to bring up sandstorms by riding a horse.
But he's also like he's hiding his face. He hides his face from Jenny, and then Jekyll he has a chat with Jenny, and he's like, oh yeah, no, he's gonna find the curse, find the cure to the curse. Is he a monster? Is he man? Or is he something else? And I'm like, I have that note as well. But I then expanded on it and said, I don't care.
Did you also notice when he brings Jenny back to life, he shouts something and his face turns into a spiky toothed monster for a second.
Oh, I did not notice that. I think I was.
You weren't paying attention to the last 5 minutes at all, were you? Don't blame you.
Well, I was watching this on Netflix, so I was Googling its cancellation policy. they have at the end the cheeky look over the shoulder that all of these have of, oh, where's your sense of adventure, like you said, and they ride off into the sun for another adventure. No, we're not. No, I don't want to come.
No.
I don't want to come with this. And then the film ends.
Do you know what annoys me about this? I think the Dark Universe as a concept would have been a really good idea.
Yeah.
They even you could see how much it was definitely a building a franchise when he first goes to the Jekyll's little complex.
Yeah.
You're walking through, and you see little jars. You got the Dracula teeth skull in there. You're like, oh, fucking Dracula's going to turn up at some point. Brilliant.
There was the hand from the creature from the Black Lagoon was in there as well.
Yeah. So like they had like they were trying really hard to make this a franchise, but it's just a shit movie.
So the Dark Universe is was supposed to be a reboot of the old Universal monster films. There was Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy, The Wolfman, The Wolfman, um, Wolfman, and Jekyll and as well as Jekyll and Hyde, because these are all like properties that are out of copyright and in public domain.
Wasn't this also what the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was trying to do?
Oh, it does feel a little bit League of Extraordinary Gentlemen-y, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, no, it does. It is what League of Extraordinary Gentlemen did, because again, all those characters are in public domain.
Yeah.
Not the League itself, but
I don't know if they were trying to set up a franchise with the League, but they were definitely trying to set up a franchise with the Mummy.
Yeah, because they slapped a logo saying this is a franchise at the beginning of it. The thing is that this isn't a remake of The Mummy. This is an origin story for whatever Tom Cruise's thing is.
Yes, that was going to be my last point, actually.
So the whole Mummy thing is secondary. It's all about what Tom Cruise is set, whatever the fuck he is now.
Which I don't even know what he is. Like in the mythology of all the monsters, which one is he? Is he a new one?
I think there's ways that this could have been better. There's
Really? Of course there is. Every way.
The crash scene, having more people there and having that turn into a massacre, that would have been fun as hell.
Yeah.
But I think that have Jekyll be with Tom Cruise.
What, like his partner instead of his mate?
Instead of Jenny.
Instead of Jenny, okay.
Right. Either make Jenny Jekyll, as in a female version of Jekyll and Hyde.
Right.
So she's there, she knows exactly what's going on, and then she's also secretly trying to keep her Hyde side away from Tom Cruise. But the point of conflict comes from the fact that Hyde does want to join up with the Mummy.
I can see what you're doing. That would also do. I mean, Jekyll in this was the best character in the entire thing, so to give him a bigger role would have been pretty nice too. He was only in like two scenes.
Yeah, he's too far removed from everything, and Hyde is a legitimate threat if he's closer to the action and not just locked in that one room.
Do you think that Hyde is equally as intelligent as Jekyll?
Probably, yeah.
Because the way I always thought Jekyll and Hyde was Jekyll was really intelligent but a weak, and then Hyde was not intelligent, a cunning, conniving asshole, but super strong.
I'm not sure how that breaks down.
I should probably read that book. I've never read it.
But I think he's too far removed. So either have just Jenny be Jenny Heckle, Jenny Jekyll, Jenny Jekyll,
Jekyll
alliteration as well, so that works. Because then it also means that she's got a proper reason for going after Amunet, because she wants to research evil so that she can find the cure for her own stuff. Or have Russell Crowe do it and get rid of Tom Cruise's character and have Jenny as an archaeologist who finds the tomb with Jekyll as her mentor, but is out in the field with her.
True, but then you'd lose the star pulling power of Tom Cruise.
But you've got Russell Crowe.
Yeah, but you haven't got Tom Cruise.
I'll take a Russell Crowe over Tom Cruise any day.
Oh, as would I. But would the filmmaking companies?
Yeah, I think they would. So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this terrible thing?
I think you just answered your own question. Um, do you know what the worst thing about this movie was? Is like, and we've kind of a little, like touched on it and discussed it a little bit. Was the potential that it had? Like, and I mean, it had huge, huge potential. Think about how amazing Dracula movies were, or how popular at least they were. I mean, there's been a lot of shit ones. Dracula movies, the the creature from the Black Lagoon. I've never heard anything about, but I'm sure will be amazing. Frankenstein, it's classic. The Wolfman, so many Wolfman movies. Dr. Jekyll, like, so much potential, and it's all squandered on just bad writing, bad concepts, avoiding pissing off Egypt by not even going there in the first place.
Potentially, that's just my theory.
No, I'm pretty sure that's it makes sense. I can't think of any other reason why. But having the mummy as a minor character in her own movie, it was just a shambles. It was absolute badly put together piece of shit. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I'll give it about a 9 out of 10.
Well, let's talk about how this film did, shall we? The Rotten Tomato score is 15%.
Out of
Out of Tom Cruise films, it's the second lowest rating that he has.
What is the first lowest?
Cocktail.
Ah,
It's
fair enough.
9% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb is a bit better, 5.4.
Percent.
No, I think that's out of 10. That one. Right, this thing it had a budget, right, of the high end estimation was 195 million. That includes production and marketing. To break even, it needed to gross 450 million. It only made 80 million in North America.
Cool. Good job.
Worldwide, it was only 410 million, so it didn't break even.
Nearly broke even though. And probably just because they had Russell Crowe and Tom Cruise in it.
It lost the studio up to $100 million. They positioned this as the first movie of the Dark Universe, but they did have a punt before. There was a film called Dracula Untold a couple of years before,
I know that one.
and it did not do well. It did so badly, in fact, that because they'd hinted at, oh, this is going to be the start of our new Dark Universe. They hadn't put the logo on the front, but they had said there was chatter that it was the first in the Dark Universe. But when it failed, when it biffed it straight away, they started to go, "Oh yeah, no, there's no, we never said that. It's not part. No, the mummy's the first one. Look, we've put a logo on the front of it so that you know that it's the first one." And then that also biffed it, and then they immediately cancelled everything.
That's sad though. I wish they'd just done a good job.
Yeah. I mean, I say they immediately biffed it. There was going to be the next film was going to be Bride of Frankenstein with Angelina Jolie.
Sure, why you'd go with Frankenstein first? Surely you go with Dracula first, but they did apparently. So,
But Bride of Frankenstein was supposed to be 2 years later, in 2019, which is possibly too long afterwards. Like they should have maybe done it the next year. But it seems like after the Mummy, they took a step back, tried to evaluate it, and just went, "Yeah, no one wants this." And so they officially said, "Yeah, we're not doing any of this stuff anymore. If we do Dracula films in the future or do monster films in the future, they'll be standalone, no shared universe. Dark Universe is dead."
fair enough. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I personally would have liked this to succeed, but if it was done well.
Um, the reason I think this fails, and this my true dark feelings about this, um, this kind of film is what happens when marketing and branding come first.
Yeah.
I mean, this film doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it a comedy? Is it a horror? Is it an adventure? It's not really any of these things. Like it tries to pitch itself as like a horror.
Well, it's not funny.
Yeah, it's not funny. It tries to pitch itself as like horror because it's darker than the original, but nothing in it particularly happens that's jarring or horror filled. Everything that Armanet does, like sucking the life out of people and like zombies and shit, that was in the family comedy from the 90s version.
Yeah. What they've done is they've I don't even know how to explain. Like when you make a horror, but instead of making a horror, you don't have the suspense and the thrill of the horror, or you've just made it dark and people die. That's not what a horror is. I mean, those two things happen in a horror. Yes, well done. You've picked up two parts of what a horror is, but that's not what a horror is. It's not a horror by any. It's not even close to a horror.
Making it dark, and I mean not in theme. It's like physically dark. Everything, like when they get the version of London is that old borders on that old. It's always nighttime. It's always slightly foggy version of London from old horror movies.
Like when you would think of the Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, that kind of cobbled streets everywhere. Every street in London is cobbled, apparently. And it's always dark. It's always slightly foggy. It's so dark in this. When they steal the ambulance, the livery on the side, the Battenberg pattern on the side of the ambulance is so bright, it's jarring.
That was there's another thing they threw in, like, because the dagger was in like a gargoyle or whatever, like a statue in. They had to throw in the third part of a horror that is necessary. Ever so like every now and then a little bit of a gothic theme. So there has to be a church, there has to be a graveyard, there has to be the gothic architecture. So we got that as well. There's three things that you find in horrors. Great. Still not a horror, mate. You're missing all the important parts of what a horror is.
Just having Tom Cruise being pinned down by zombies on a church altar doth not a horror film make.
Exactly. But like at the same time, were they going for a horror? I don't even know if they were going for a horror.
That's the point. I don't know what they were going for. They weren't going for an adventure or a comedy or a family film.
Exactly.
Everything was dark. Everything was moody.
Because they had a few aspects of an action movie that were in there as well. They have a few aspects of an adventure movie that were in there. It's all just kind of put all together and then mixed around. Choose a fucking genre. What are you?
Where would you how out of 10? How would you score this?
I'm not going to go as low as Rotten Tomatoes because they were like you said. I did like the way they did the glass turning into sand. That was fucking cool. It had a lot of potential, squandered potential, which annoys the crap out of me. I'd go with 3 fangs out of 10.
3 fangs out of 10. I'm going to go lower. I'm going to go 2.
But I don't even know. I was about to say I'm not even sure if that was generous. But the other thing that brought me up was Russell Crowe. But even that kind of 3. I'll stick with 3.
All right, I'm gonna stick with 2.
Okay, can I ask you? What do you think was better, John Carter or The Mummy?
John Carter.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I totally agree.
All right, that's all we have time for today. Next time we will be watching The Golden Compass. Colin, where can people find you if you were to be found?
Not very many places, to be honest. The most likely place to find me would be Instagram. My name is Colin. That's COLIN. Gerard. That's a GERRARD. .92. Because I'm not very original.
And you can find me on YouTube at the Badger's Apprentice and Twitter at TBA_tweets. That's all the time we have. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace out, motherfuckers.